The rain had been falling all day, not loud enough to be dramatic, but steady enough to make the world feel smaller. Streets glistened under the gray sky, and everything seemed slower than usual. I checked the address one more time before knocking. When the door opened, I expected a quick greeting and a simple job. Instead, I found myself standing in front of a woman who looked like she had learned how to live without expecting much from life. She wasn't cold. She wasn't unfriendly. She was careful. "Hello," she said softly. "Hi," I replied. "I'm here about the plumbing issue." She stepped aside, letting me in. As the door closed behind me, she spoke quietly, almost like she was talking to the walls rather than to me. "I haven't had a man in my house for 2 years." I looked up, surprised. Then I smiled, trying to keep things light. "Well, you've got me now." For a second, she froze. Then she laughed, short, nervous, but real. "I guess I do," she said. Her house was spotless, but empty in a way that felt heavy. No photos on the walls. No personal clutter. Just space. "This way," she said, leading me to the kitchen. As I worked under the sink, I could feel her nearby. Not hovering, just present. As if she wasn't used to sharing space with anyone anymore. "You live alone?" I asked casually. "Yes," she said quickly. Then, after a pause, "I've lived alone for a while." That pause said more than the words. When I finished, I stood up and wiped my hands. "All set," I said. She smiled politely. "Thank you." Then she hesitated. "Would you like some coffee?" she asked. "I don't usually, but it feels strange not to offer." "I'd like that," I said. We sat across from each other at her small table. The rain tapped against the windows, filling the silence between us. "So," she said, stirring her cup, "do you always joke with strangers?" "Only the ones who look like they need it," I replied. She looked at me, surprised. "Do I look like that?" "Yes," I said gently. "Like someone who's been alone longer than she wanted." She looked down. "My ex left 2 years ago," she said quietly. "After that, I stopped letting people in. This house became safe. Quiet. Empty." "Empty doesn't always mean peaceful," I said. She nodded slowly. "That's something I've learned the hard way." When the power returned, I stood to leave. At the door, she stopped me. "Thank you," she said. "Not just for fixing the sink." I nodded. "Anytime." Then she added, quietly, "If you're ever nearby again, knock. Even if nothing's broken." "I will," I said. And I meant it. A week later, I found myself standing outside her house again. This time, I wasn't there for work. When she opened the door and saw me, her eyes widened. "Nothing broken?" she asked. "Nothing," I said. "Just thought I'd check in." She smiled, a real one this time. "Come in." That night, we talked for hours. About her past. About my own mistakes. About loneliness, fear, and the strange comfort of being understood without having to explain everything. No touching. No rushing. Just two people learning how to sit in the same space without walls. Over the next few weeks, I became a regular presence. Sometimes we talked. Sometimes we didn't. Sometimes we just sat in silence, but it was different now. Softer. Warmer. "I never thought I'd let someone back in," she admitted one evening. "I was afraid of needing someone again." "Needing someone isn't weakness," I said. "It's human." She looked at me for a long moment. "Then stay," she said. "At least tonight." I did. Nothing happened beyond shared laughter, late-night conversations, and the quiet comfort of knowing we weren't alone. And somehow, that meant everything. One night, she finally said it. "I'm scared," she admitted. "Scared that if I let myself feel again, I'll get hurt." I took her hand, gently, carefully. "I can't promise you won't," I said honestly. "But I can promise I won't disappear." Tears filled her eyes. "That's all I ever wanted," she whispered. Months passed. The house changed. Photos appeared on the walls. Music played again. Laughter lived in the rooms. One evening, as we stood in the kitchen together, she looked around and smiled. "You know," she said, "this house doesn't feel empty anymore." I smiled back. "Neither do you." She leaned into me. 2 years ago, she had closed her door to the world. All it took was one knock, and one honest reply, to open it again.